Hello. For today's project, we're going to be going ahead and taking this Honda GX240 and putting it in a roller.
Okay, let me give you a rundown of what we're actually doing here today. As I stated, we have this Honda GX240 that I got off of Marketplace for a pretty decent price of $80. And then we got this rolling frame that I got off of Marketplace for an even better price of $60. And this thing's totally rust-free and spotless and ready to go. Guy said he wanted $100 for it. I hit him with $60. He said, come get it. I couldn't resist. Pretty sure this is one of them Tao coasters. You can get off of Amazon for anywhere between $800 and $1,200 from what I looked up. So for $60, I couldn't beat it. Even the tires are in great shape. And I'm pretty sure all we need to do to put this in there is to go ahead and throw a chain and a clutch on it, which I already purchased. And she should be good to go. Now, I'd much rather do a torque converter, but I'm worried about the fitment of this quad, for how small it is and how big this motor is, if that might work or not. So maybe by the end of the video we'll move to that, but I'm definitely going to try a clutch first. And then we're also going to go ahead and lose the gas tank and use the stock gas tank that comes with that. And we're going to do a stage 1 kit, lose the airbox, and lose the stock exhaust. That way it fits a lot better and slides right into that frame. Alright guys, let's get to it. So we got the motor out of the dirt into the small shed up on the block. And I did put a little bit of gas in this because first things first, I'm going to show you guys that this thing actually works. At least it did prior to hitting it with the quad yesterday. But the intentions are get the gas tank off, get the air box off, get the stock exhaust off. You got a new air filter kit, and I have a new exhaust put on it. I don't really like this one because of how short and stubby it is. It's probably just going to sound like shit. But I think it was the best fitment for going inside that quad. Just I was going for the smallest thing possible. And maybe I'll try to switch to something, but we're going to use this for now. And that's really about it. We're going to give it a total rundown, as always. And go through the carb. I mean, it does start right up. It doesn't hurt. That way, when this thing's out on a trail, it don't suck something up, and then I'm goofed. And then I'm also going to do a valve adjustment, which we'll show you guys how to do that when we get there. But let's pull it over. Go ahead, kill switch on, choke on, fuel's already on, and like I said, this thing did run until we ran into the quad, so hopefully she just gets going. First pull. Look at that. What more do you need? This thing's great. Alright, let's just start turning on it. Alright, I'm pretty excited to do this project because I did buy both this motor and that roller frame maybe like 3 weeks ago, but with logistics of life and trying to get Mike's bike up and going before this weekend, this kind of got put on the back burner. But I would also like this thing available this weekend because we're going on a big trip to our family cabin, and I'd very much so like to take all the new power sports up there. So let's see how fast we can get this done. Oh wow, look at that, dude. The guy that I bought this off of, he seemed pretty legit minus this dent in the gas tank. He didn't give me much of a review on it. Well, let me re-clarify here. I bought it off a guy's wife, and she said all he did was replace whatever this was on with a bigger motor. So it's not like anything was wrong with this. But wait till you see the top of this. What a this filter looks great. New air filter, 825/24. New oil, clean fuel tank carb. So clean fuel tank carb, new oil. So I imagine all in this state. This guy gave this a total rundown, which is what, 5 months ago? I feel like I don't even have to do anything. I may as well, but this shows me this thing was well taken care of, and that excites me. So I might not even check the oil right now, because how much did he use this between here and there? Probably not a crazy amount. Alright, this should have one more on the top here. This might be my best find yet. 80 bucks for somebody that has that much care into this thing. Usually when you see a motor like this, they're pretty abused. I mean, as you've briefly seen in our videos before, they're never something that's super well taken care of. Turn our fuel off. Get our housing out of the way. I mean, even our intake looks pretty clean compared to past ones. Get that out of the way. The carburetor, this looks like a new carburetor, honestly. This doesn't look original to the bike. Well, to the bike, to the motor. It looks like this has been replaced, which I have nothing wrong with that. I'm not super fond about the whole buying ones on Amazon thing, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. It can be a lot harder to find the appropriate parts than just getting one on Amazon. And plus, these things, we're just putting these in mini bikes and a homemade quad and stuff. It's not anything to write home about where you're super relying on this motor to work when you need it. You just kind of want it to. Alright, where are you going to give me the angle to get you off? There you go. Yeah, look at this. This actually looks pretty new. Well, we're dripping some fuel. Where's my catch fan? I'm going to take the bowl off out of curiosity, but let me take that off before I lose it. But if it's looking fine, I'm just going to leave it. No sense in digging too much into this. Everything looks so clean. Even the knot, usually you see a little stuff on the end here. Nothing. This is brand new. This is well taken care of. Perfect. Everything's perfect. What more can you ask for? I am going to leave this off. Let me see. I highly doubt this is an aftermarket jet. But with putting the new air filter and the new exhaust on here, we will have to rejet this. So, I mean, honestly, this guy just made my life even easier. Just by the way, this is dirty and stuff. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't well taken care of and you got this big dent in the gas tank. I kind of did expect this to be a little rough, but this is a well taken care of motor. I ended up using the jet that I wanted to put in this on Mike's bike. So, I might go a little bit of a higher size than I originally intended. Is this labeled at all? No, it's not labeled. We're just going to set this right here, and we'll compare to jets I got here. This excites me. Makes this project a lot simpler. Wonder if you even did the valves. So this is the one that came off here. We might do the 40. Let me compare these and see what they look like. Honestly, it looks like the one that came off of here is bigger. Maybe we'll go jump up another size or two. What do you say? We see what a 44 runs? I don't know what the stock size off of this is. Yeah, that looks slightly bigger. It's not significant, so we're going to try the 44 off of here. We're going to shove this in. Put this back together. That's an amazing find here, guys. For $80 too. I mean, not like this carburetor was super expensive, but he probably spent like $15 on it. For it being brand new, I guarantee what he... Does this say new carb? No, just clean fuel tank and carb. New air, new oil. So yeah, this is totally a new air filter. This is coming to be an amazing find. Starts right up. Carburetor as clean as it possibly can be. Snug this up and get it back on here, honestly. Let's get this new air filter going. We got an adapter here, new air filter. Move some tools out of the way. See what we got, just a little kit here. Just seeing what all it comes with. I wonder if these need to be longer or if these are just new. We'll find out when we get there, I guess. I was looking to see if there's a gasket for this. It doesn't look... Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry, it's on the back side. Everything was covered in it. I'll say I will reuse the old one, but I'd rather use the new one. grab this. This way. Oh, please don't tell me this don't fit. No. No! I was bamboozled. Oh man. That's a hard loss. Fudge. That's the problem. Finding things that fit this, everything on the internet just says Predator 212 because they're so popular and cheap. Actually getting parts for a legitimate Honda is a lot more of a struggle. What can I do to make you work? I wonder, how much is that going to goof up the air flow? Probably a lot. Just put it on like this. There you go. Snug her down. That sucks. That sucks hardcore. Just may as well put this on my Predator then. It still has a stock exhaust on it. That's pretty whack. Dang it. I didn't check the fitment of this. I just assumed I could trust the internet. But as you can see here, I was very much so wrong. Dang. I wonder if there's a way I can make this kind of work, because it pretty much covers that hole in there. No, I'm not going to do that. How do I guess we're going to put the stock air filter back on. I'm just concerned about these things fitting within the bike. But we will change the exhaust. There's two back up. That sucks. Alright. There we go. Do that. We did it again. We didn't put the choke lever back on. Second Honda in a row. There we go. Dang, man. That's really disheartening. That sucks. Like I said, if you're working on a Predator, you'll find parts today for them. But working on these, it's so much harder because everybody wants the cheaper clone. Whack. What liars. I guarantee this fits right on the Predator. Maybe at some point at the end of this video we'll throw that on there just to prove myself right. Alright, at least let's see if we can change the exhaust or if I got sold the wrong part for that as well. These nuts seen better days. Look at that one. It's pretty rough. Not that heat. Alright, at least we have that. Cool. That works out. Though I did put that bigger jet in there now without being able to put a new air intake on. So hopefully that doesn't become a problem for us. We'll see. Probably will. But that's not a big deal. It takes 3 minutes to do. It just could be a lot cooler if it didn't. Alright. I actually have these washers in this bag. I'm going to go ahead and use those too. Just so I don't have to tighten down so far. These rusty. There's actually not threads there. Maybe that's why it came with new nuts. We're going to have to go ahead and see if we can get these studs out. Hopefully. I think first thing I'm going to do there. It did come with these and I was curious to why. It's because these are only threaded until so far and you got half an inch or so of unthreaded here. Let's let that sit. Find a pair of vice grips real quick. Okay, all I got is these straight ones, which I'm not very fond of. but we'll give it a try. I really hope I don't mess up these threads. I'm gonna mess up those threads. Dang. See if I can grab it at the very end here. Probably not though. These straight vice grips tend to slip a lot more than the rounded ones, like your stock standard ones. Yeah, see, they just slip. How am I gonna get those off here? I guess we're gonna try Old Reliable here. Oh, we did it. Perfect. I was thinking of how rusty these were. I'm like, these are never going to come off. But I really didn't want to mess up the threads, because if I had to go back to putting the stock exhaust on, we're spinning. Alright, we're going to go ahead and remove this gas tank, because this one snapped off and this one's coming out pretty decent. But I make contact with the gas tank on my way up, and I don't want to keep biting on these because it's going to chew them up. I'd rather get as much rotation on one bite as I can. So we got the bolts out of here. There, that should give us... Ooh, look at that. Just a thick layer cut. Alright, that should give us more of a rotation here with this. It is this heat shield a little bit, but not terribly. You can kind of scrape past it. Oh man, now he's got nothing to hold. There we go, one big rotation now. Okay. Well, that went poorly. We got one good bolt on here, and then this one's chewed to heck and back. And it's pretty short where I can't really get anything on it, but it is what it is type thing. I mean, this is going on a $60 quad frame. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I think tomorrow I'm going to bring home my welder from work and just tack something like a bolt head on the end of this and see if I can get it off of that and actually get that on there appropriately. But besides that, I'm pretty comfortable with what she is doing. So just hard losses. We got the air filter goofed up. The exhaust is half-assed. But I mean, what else are we doing here? We're just playing, right? I'm a grown man trying to goof off on a little quad. So let's go ahead and knock this keyway out. Well, let me see. This might be key. I have the brand new clutch here. It's going to go on this. Again, no fitment check, but this should be fine. Yeah, it does have its own keyway on there, so that fits perfectly. So I got to get this key out. There we go. Go ahead and clean this up a bit. And I'm going to preemptively, before I get this on here, get these set screws for the clutch on. I wish that came with a complimentary Allen wrench for this, instead of me going to go find one. Usually most things like this do. And we got one started. That's all I really want to do, get it started, because once it's on the back side here, good luck. Come on. Please. We'll do a lot of cool stuff together if you just thread. This is too fat. This kind of makes it stick out. Can't really get it good. Yeah, it just tightens it up. It doesn't feel right. Alright, this is dirty now because of me. Go ahead. Put this on. Boom. What more can you ask for? Though, on another note, where's the packaging? I just got that up. I think it's just here. It didn't come with a nut and a washer for the end of here, which is kind of whack. But we're just we'll tighten up those set screws and hope for the best. Alright, what's left here? We're going to go ahead and check the valves just for the heck of it while we're here. Just because I don't know the age of this motor and it's probably never been done, so let's see if they've gotten out of the line a little bit. Alright, we got the valve cover off and we need to remove the spark plug. That actually looks pretty good, but real quick while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a cleaning. And we're going to check the gap because we may as well while it's off. I kind of trust whoever had this motor before by how much care they put into it. But this is supposed to be 0.7 to 0.8, it says. At least that's what the internet says. It's at like 0.3. I wonder. I mean, that looks like a pretty huge gap though. Let me fact check that. I just fact checked it. It says 0.7 to 0.8. That's a huge gap though. Let me bend that out a little bit. Bend it out. I mean, well, 0.07 to 0.08. Clearly, but that's a big gap. We'll see. We might put this back to where it was because it was firing fine before then. God dang. I don't know. So it falls a little after 0.7. Look at how big that gap is though. I don't believe that. We'll try it because that's what they say, but that's not what we're here for right now. That's just a spark plug. We're going to find top dead center on this motor, which the best way you can do that is take the spark plug off, shove something in here, and you want to find it on a compression stroke. So right here is our compression stroke. You want to be at the top of the pole, right there. And our gap size, let me fact check that. It's 0.15 millimeters on your intake, and then 0.2 millimeters on the exhaust. So we got my feeler gauges. Already got that out. 0.15. That's super loose. So we're gonna go ahead and snug that down. Alright, yeah, so that's gonna be a 14. And then what we're gonna want to do is, I wish I wasn't so messy with tools to make my life leagues easier. This is probably a 10, which it is. We're gonna loosen these set screws here on the end. We're gonna tighten this down to where we're just getting a fair bit of rub. I'll go ahead and leave that one right there. We got my 14 here. Now this is a little tricky, so after you're done, you are going to want to test this. But we're going to hold this as still as we humanly can and tighten this set screw back up. Hear that? You hear contact. Not too tight, but you're getting some resistance. Alright, let's get out the next one. And this one will be 0.2 millimeter. Let's check that. I mean, that's absurdly loose. There we go, starting to get some friction. I actually like that right there. Maybe a hair more. Yeah, I like that. Let's go ahead and tighten that up. There you go. Alright, let's get our valve cover back on. We should be good to go with this motor for the most part. And spark plug back in. Just spark plug in first so there's not all this stuff in the way. Like I said, I am skeptical about that gap size, but I got that off of Honda's website. But I've never seen something gap so large. Pretty wild. Usually like a good 0.03 is the standard. There we go. That's snugged up. You back on.
Man. Let's tighten it up. Spark plug it back on. Okay, all in all, we checked the carburetor. Carburetor's beautiful. Sadly, we can't put a new air filter on this. We did change the jet. We might have a problem with that, being the fact we're lack of a new air filter, but we do have more air leaving, so might complicate things. We'll see when we get there. Change the spark plug gap to what specs say off of Honda's website, and also checked our valve clearance. So this thing, in theory, should be ready to put on the mini quad. Let's take it out there. So here's a quick little update on the mini quad that I'm building. As you can see here, I had quite a busy weekend. I got a lot of projects going on along with that quad. So after I finished working on the motor here, I decided to do a fitment check, and then I got ahead of myself and I kind of did everything and was hoping that it would work out great, but we have a bit of a small problem. Let me give you a rundown on this thing. The fitment's actually pretty nice. I had to cut the air box to kind of just shape it to work around here, but it fits in there great. If you look down, you have enough room for your leg and to hit this. Move that out of the way. And I actually really like the way it looks. It looks like a nice little big motor in this little quad. But here's where the problem lies. Remember when I said we needed to do a torque converter? I was right. And we got to lose this clutch. I burnt this clutch up in minutes, and I mean minutes of using this, maybe a minute and a half. So we're gonna have to go ahead and hopefully not, if I can slide this motor forward, which I do have like some of the frame in the way back there. If I can slide the motor forward, the torque converter should fit, and if not, I'm probably gonna have to chop off this part of the frame. Now you still have a little bit of structural integrity up here, but that's welded to that. This is your main piece of frame, so I'd rather not cut that off. But somebody actually did already do this, the previous owner on this side. You can see where it runs into the motor here. They did cut it off over here. So that could be an issue someday, you know what I mean? If somebody hits a jump too hard with this or slams it, you might end up bending that frame, but who cares? It was 60 bucks. This thing's gonna be a blast for as long as we have it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting this clutch off real quick. And then from there, oh, as you can see too, the exhaust pipe didn't fit. It runs into this as well. So honestly, it might not be a bad thing if I end up just cutting this off, because I can get the exhaust on. As you can see there, it still has one of the pegs on it. I couldn't get it off. I had to grab my welder from work. I brought it home, welded a nut on there, and I should be able to take it right off. I was using that pipe wrench, and it was just starting to get to a point where I was just chewing it shorter and shorter, where I was making contact with like the, I don't know what you call them, the heat shield things on the motor. So let's go ahead and start pulling this clutch off, and I'll see you guys whenever we get a torque converter. See if I can tack this backside too. It's kind of tight. Alright, if that don't hold on, I know what will. Might just leave it. I don't care. Alright, let's get this thing off. Oh, there she goes. Ah, No. I melted the top of this a little more than I intended to. Get this off here. There we go. She's spinning. God, is this one in there? The other one wasn't so bad. It came out pretty easy. But this one's been a fight the whole way. Alright. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed. Alright, that's out. That might need rethreaded. But that ain't too big of a problem. I'm just happier we actually able to get a real exhaust on here. Because I'm thinking about kind of fabricating my own goofy thing out of parts I have around on here. Because this thing is absurdly loud when it's on. So instead of being a nuisance to the neighbors, I do need to figure out something to do with that. But, alright. And just like that, I'm back here 2 days later with the torque converter. I was in quite the debate if I was going to install that with the motor detached from the frame or with the motor on the frame. I just think it would be easier to get it without it detached from the frame and worry about fitment when I get there. Because like I said, I am pretty worried about the fitment of this. So I think I'm just going to roll the dice and go ahead and install it with the motor detached. And if I have to take it back off, it just is what it is. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed. With an initial fitment test here, instantly I'm running into a problem with this, is running into our oil cap, where there's no room for it here. And what people do here is cut these, but luckily on the other side here, this one is broken off. So we can just go ahead and swap those and it should be a pretty seamless transition, though that is our oil level side. It will be fine. I'm pretty uncommon, but I'm just a hair off of being able to actually fit this on, so I'm going to go ahead and shave down this cast a little bit. So we finally got a decent fitment on this thing. We'll go ahead and start putting it together now. It was actually quite the hassle to grind that back to make it fit, but as you can see, we made it. We got our forward bolts aligned. Got an extension. And this one's hyper long for what I need, but I don't want to keep running into this. I'm a little worried about this hole. There was a lot of dirt packed in it. I got it out for the most part. Hopefully this just goes down all the way down in seats. And that should be it. Alright, let's start assembling. So after a lot more work than I was originally planning, finally got the bike done. At least for the most part, it's definitely drivable and everything. There's something I need to work out with the throttle, but that's it. But when I say a lot more work than I was originally planning, the original plan with this video was roller, motor, bolt it down, strap it up. Now, as you guys seen before, the clutch instantly burned up, which I thought it would, but it was worth a try. And we had to go the torque converter route. So then I bought a torque converter that was said to be for this motor, and it was not. It was just for your regular old 212 thing. So after a lot of grinding to the frame plate for the torque converter, and I mean a lot of grinding, probably like an hour of trial and error grinding and getting it to fit, and then other complications along the way, I had to go ahead and cut another piece out of the frame here. I tapped a new bolt for the exhaust, and I had to go ahead and cut the box for the air box here to fit, which that wasn't really a big deal. I kind of anticipated that, and I'm actually glad I was able to make it fit. But this was supposed to be like a one-day, couple-hour project of literally mount motor, 4 bolts, attached chain, ride the bike. But I am super glad of the way this came out. We got it running good. It actually goes pretty fast for what I was hoping for a little more power, but I mean, for what it is, I mean, this is a junk little quad. And all in all, I think, like I told you guys, we paid $60 for the frame, $80 for the motor. Torque converter cost me $60, and then what? There was one more thing. Oh, the exhaust. The exhaust cost me, I think it was like 18 to 20 bucks, something like that. So 80 for the motor, 20 for the exhaust. You're at $100, 60 for the frame, another 60 for the torque converter. You're at $220 for this full running quad. That I would say is better than you originally would have bought this for $800. You know, so you're at a $220, I think I said, price frame. This motor is way bigger than what was in here. I think these come with like, I can't remember, maybe 100 cc's or something like that. We got 240 cc's. This probably would have not even moved with me on it, but alright guys, I think we should just quit talking about it. Let's get to riding this and show you what it does. First pull. I just want to say, for that being first pull, you don't know what that means to me. Because the woes that this motor gave me, because it was first pull when I bought it, I tuned it, did a valve adjustment, you know, new spark plug, checked the gap on that, got it right. And remember how I said they had that really huge gap at first? That didn't work at all. So I just ended up going back to like a standard like 0.03, and it started working great. But as soon as I put that motor in this frame, where it's super inaccessible to work on, it didn't want to do a thing. And I spent days and days and days trial and error, where it made me feel stupid, where I almost took to Reddit or something, just trying to figure out why and is the reason that this motor won't get going. So I don't even know what I did, honestly. I did 1,000 things to get to this point. But anyhow, like I said, first pull, you don't know what that means. This thing has just been an uphill climb where it should have been frame, motor and frame, connect chain, ride quad. Alright, let's get back to it. Calm in, dude. Calm in. Alright. Clutch does want to engage a little bit. He's got to roll. But I think I'm going to go ahead and let Mike hop on this thing, because he's a much lighter rider than I, and you'll actually get to see what this thing does. Alright guys. Runs pretty damn good.
I don't know about you, but I'd say this is a fucking success.
Yeah, and like I said before, like $220, you can't find a quad for $220 on Marketplace that's actually going to move around like this. And trust me, I look constantly. It's an addiction. But, you know, if anything, you're going to find something at $200 that's stripped down to a frame, says it needs a wiring harness and something like that, or I don't know what's wrong with it, it's your problem. And really, do you want that to be your problem? You look at something like that and be like, oh, what if it's something simple? Look at what they've done to the quad, and it's a tore apart frame down to the body. It's not something simple. It's not worth your money. But like I said, $220, you can do something cool like this. And it might not be super fast with like adults like me or Mike riding it. I mean, I'm 6'5", like 265. I think Mike's...
I'm 5'11".
Mike's 5'11".
No,
and
5'9".
I think he's like...
5'9".
He's like, what, 260? I'm playing. But anyhow, like, you know, I mean, having grown adults cook around on something like this, where the original motor was in this, won't do that, you know? Like, it's a fun little thing to have around the house, and I think it's definitely worth the money for like, a very small investment.
Yeah.
Have this thing around the campfire, have a guy go get you some more beers or something, you know what I mean? He's going to have a good time, and he ain't going to kill himself, because the thing's doing 20 miles an hour, maybe tops, and that's being very generous. But all in all, this was a super fun project to make, no matter how many woes it may have given me along the way. I'm pretty happy to have it, and happy to do it for you guys. So, I think we're good to go ahead and catch you guys in the next one, and... Okay.
That was for you.
What do you think? That was cool?
Yeah, that was fucking solid.